Hello everyone, I'm back from my hiatus. Hi guys, welcome back to the podcast. It feels like I haven't filmed it in so long, but it's literally only been a week. Long story short, last week was just way too hot for me to film it. I literally put my makeup on. If you saw my makeup video that I just did, that was me getting ready to film the podcast. And I sat down, and this was bearing in mind at like 10 at night. I sat down, I just couldn't do it. Like these lights, I was dripping in sweat. So yeah, that's basically why there hasn't been a podcast in a week. I just couldn't hack the heat. I wasn't built for it. But yeah, we're back now for episode 5, I want to say. So yeah, I'm really happy to be back. I hope you guys are good, and we'll just get right into it, I guess. So today's episode is going to be like a boy talk kind of thing. I was looking back at the initial dilemmas you guys sent in, because I remember when I first started the podcast, I asked you guys on Instagram to just send in your general dilemmas. And guys, when I tell you I got so many, like I am still on them now, like going through them. So yeah, I'm set up for a good few more episodes. But yeah, I was just looking through them and I saw a lot of kind of like boy talk, girl talk, relationship questions, and I enjoy listening to those podcasts, and I also enjoy giving advice on them, even though I am not a professional in that area at all. And by at all, I mean single till I'm 25. But guess what? I still give my advice anyway. Obviously, guys, I'm not a professional. Use your own discernment, use your own gut and mind. I'm just here to give you a helping hand. Anyways, let's go. Okay, so the first one is pressure from family about boys and marriage, especially in the South Asian community. Okay, I can relate to you. Obviously, you guys know I love my parents and my family, and we get on so well, but I even have that whole pressure. I don't think they mean to do it. It is all lighthearted, but I definitely know what you mean. And I think it is something that a lot of people get, but it is ingrained into a lot of Asian households, families, whatever, because it's just the way people were brought up. So yeah, it kind of like, I don't know, it kind of started for me when I was like, probably when I went to uni. They kind of expected me to maybe meet someone there, and surprise, I didn't. It wasn't even the forefront of my mind. Not that uni was at all either. I don't know, I think I saw uni as more of a finding myself sort of experience. So boys really weren't on my mind at all. But yeah, I've kind of had it since the normal age, about 18. I know a lot of people get it from a lot younger, the pressure of finding someone. But yeah, I think obviously you'll probably know it's just because they were obviously brought up in a certain way, and life in general is just it's a certain picture to them. And the more I've grown older, obviously it is a bit annoying. It does get repetitive, blah, blah, blah. And it's really hard to have to explain yourself all the time. But the more I obviously think about it, and as I said, get older, the more I realise it is coming from a nice place, obviously. Well, in most cases anyway. For me, I know my mum especially just wants me to settle down and have someone to look after me, and like, I don't know, just get my life started in that sense. I just think she wants the reassurance for herself that I've got someone, just so she knows that I'm good. Which is fair enough, like I get it. But yeah, I think in terms of family and stuff and extended family, it can get so long, like functions, weddings, going to people's houses. Like the first question sometimes you get asked is, have you got a boyfriend, or do you want me to take you with someone? Like it is long, it is really long. But I think honestly people, well, for me anyway, people are definitely starting to see or notice that our generation is not the settling down type. Even like, obviously I would love to settle down, but even me, I'm like not even sure if like, do I want that? So yeah, I think they're slowly starting to realize that times are different now. The whole world has totally changed, and I think in most cases they would rather you take your time and get with the right person than rush it. Again though, I know a lot of times in their by they, I mean like the older generation, so our parents, grandparents, whatever. I think in their cases, it's not even so much it didn't work, or arranged marriages and stuff, or not even just arranged marriages, like getting married young didn't work, because I think there was a different mindset to make it work. But now I think we're in this generation, we kind of there's so much choice, and it's so built on freedom and doing what you want and kind of being selfish, which I don't think is a bad thing. I think people are more out for themselves now, and yeah, just less likely to settle down as fast as they might have. But yeah, I think in most cases it is coming from a nice place, but it does get really annoying sometimes. Just having to explain yourself, obviously, and yeah, just explaining that most guys our age are twats. But yeah, as you said, there is a specific pressure for marriage, especially. So even if you had a boyfriend that you were really happy with, or girlfriend or whatever, there's still always going to be the pressure of marrying and then having kids. Like, there's that whole other level, which again is hard, and it could put pressure on people's relationships or put pressure on people in general. And I think in some ways, if there's too much pressure, it can take the enjoyment out of what's supposed to be a really enjoyable thing, which is obviously being in a relationship or whatever. Because sometimes when there's too much pressure on something, it just goes tits up, like, because it just explodes in your face, because you're focusing on the outcome way too much. And yeah, I just think things, when there's less pressure, when you're more calm, when you're just going with the flow, things tend to turn out a lot better. Like, it's hard though, because I'm not saying that you shouldn't have, again, this is obviously if marriage is something you want. I'm not saying that both people shouldn't have that in their mind and shouldn't have the same sort of goals. But to say that marriage and kids and stuff like that is like a done thing and you have to have it, I don't agree with that. But yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong with wanting to invest in your future, and if you are in a relationship, thinking about that kind of thing. But I think if you're not in that headspace and then you're getting all this shit from family and stuff, I guess you could turn it on yourself and think, oh, I'm some sort of failure if I haven't done it. Which obviously, I mean, I don't feel that way because my parents and my family have never made me feel that way. It's more of like a joke kind of thing. But yeah, if it was in more of a serious way, or if I was getting it literally every single day, yeah, I think, or if I was younger again, I'd probably take it more as, well, this is what I'm supposed to do, and if I'm not doing it, then I'm some sort of failure. So yeah, I don't know, it just depends. I think things are moving in a better direction as things start changing, but it's just one of those things, especially in Indian Asian households we deal with. It's one of them things, and I'm kind of used to it, but it is a bit annoying. But yeah, I feel like in most cases it's not coming from a bad place. So I don't know, you just have to kind of you just have to be strong in what you want. But the worst thing you could do is let pressures like that make you do something you don't want to do and then have it blow up in your face, because then it's just long for everyone. But yeah, I think you'll know what you want. If you want that kind of thing, it will come in your own time. In terms of dealing with the pressure, I would again just say, don't let it affect how you see yourself or how you feel about yourself. And just always remember how different times are, and the fact that it's not even just you, it's more that, well, for me anyway, I'm sure that if people around me were more invested in the whole marriage lifestyle, settling down lifestyle, I probably would be too. But I think because no one else is around me, and anyone I've spoken to before just isn't in that headspace, it's also kind of made me not in that headspace. It's kind of weird. So yeah, I think it's just, as a collective, no one wants to settle down. So it's not even like we can help it. Even if we wanted to, there's not many people who want to. Obviously, I'm just generalizing here. There definitely is people that want to settle down, and people that are settled down my age and younger. But I'm just saying, like, the general consensus, it seems, is that it's heading in a more non-settled direction. Whatever that means. But yeah, you got this, and you're definitely not alone in that. Okay, so the next one is single life. The line between being too picky and having unrealistic expectations versus not settling. This is a hard one, because I feel like this is me. And I've been told by like a lot of people, like friends and family, that maybe I have too high of standards. Not even too high standards, but that I'm too picky. And I always have the comeback that, why wouldn't I be picky? Or like, if this is a person that I'm going to spend this much time with, of course I'm going to be picky. But the more I think about it, the more I feel it's not even that I'm picky. It's more that my headspace for so many years was just not in that place. Not because people who approached me or people I spoke to weren't good enough, but more because in general, a relationship was just not what I was thinking about. It's only until recently, like in my 20s, that I've started to think about relationships more. I mean, I think the things that I want, they're like yes or no, black or white. If you don't have this, then it's not going to work, kind of thing. Like, for example, being a kind person, getting on with my family, being funny, being caring, being loving, blah, blah, blah. But I feel like they're just the normal, they're like the bare minimum, I feel like. Obviously, there's specifics that people have, but in terms of like looks and stuff, family, background, blah, 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 literally doesn't matter to me. It just isn't a thing for me anyway. But again, I don't think that's an issue if you do have really specific requirements, because you're just, you know yourself, right? And you're just being honest with yourself and whoever you're talking to. I think the issue lies where if you expect a lot from someone, but you can't allow people to expect a lot from you, if you know what I mean. So as long as you understand that loads of people have different expectations, different standards, and that's fine. But yeah, I think having standards and having like do's and don'ts, yeses or no's, is a great way to like filter it down and obviously basically save yourself from hassle in the future. And even having said that, as you grow, as you get older, as you live life and meet new people, things can change, like your preferences can change. That's definitely happened for me. The more people I've met throughout my life, the more open my mind's got. I always obviously have the core needs that I have, which, as I said at the start, they're just a few of them. I don't even know, maybe I should list them down. I haven't even listed them down. I do kind of just go with the flow with a lot of my life. So I feel like if I was to meet someone, then I'd probably just give them a chance, and then whilst getting to know them realize, oh, maybe not. But would I get the list out right at the start? No, because I'd give myself the chance to maybe change the list. Because yeah, you never know who's going to come into your life and totally flip it upside down and change how you see everything. So yeah, I don't think it's a bad thing. I don't think you should see it as a negative. I know a lot of people do. And to that, I just say, bitch, it's your life. If they want to live their life like that, they can. And if you want to live your life like this, you can. So yeah, don't see it as a bad thing. I think it's a good thing in some ways, because as I said, it can help you. It's good to have a goal, right? And it can help you be clear with whoever you're talking to, be clear with yourself, and not waste your time or anyone else's time. So yeah, you should have the right to be with who you think you deserve and who is going to match your level. Don't ever apologize for that. Okay, so the next one is not knowing if you want to have children. That is such a big topic. I don't think a single podcast segment would cover that, but I'm gonna try. I feel like, again, with the whole marriage and settling down thing, I think in a lot of ways having kids and the attitude towards that has changed a lot. I know that obviously my parents' generation, the generation above that, probably would have had a kid by now, by my age. Me at this age right now couldn't imagine myself having a child in the situation I'm in. I do, obviously at this moment in time anyway, I do want children in the future. That's a massive, not goal, but I feel like it's a big, this is just a personal thing obviously, but I think it's a big purpose for me is to be a mom and to have a family, but it's a total personal thing. And I think the idea that women have to have children, yeah, it's a totally outdated idea. Just because we're able to have children does not mean we have to have children. Having a child is a massive responsibility. B, it will change your life. And C, it's just not for everyone. It's literally, not everything can be for everyone. And I think people need to keep their minds out of people's business. If you want to have a child, you go ahead and have a child. Obviously, hopefully everything's okay and you're lucky enough to be able to have them. But yeah, I just feel like it's a totally personal choice. Even for men, if you're not someone who's looking for a family, that's totally fine. I think it's just as long as you're clear with your partner about what you do and don't want, then it's fine. And again, with children, even though it's such a big thing, that can totally change as well. I've got friends who, when we were younger, I've got friends who switch both ways. I've got friends who, when we were younger, we would talk about, obviously, when we grow up and get married and stuff, having kids. And now we're like 25, they couldn't, like, they're just against having kids. Like, they're like, no, this is not for me. And it's so much can change in so little time. And things have happened the other way too. When I was at uni, I knew a lot of people who, or when we were around that age, I knew a lot of people who were like, nope, not having kids, not for me, blah, blah. And then, yeah, now they're older, they're in relationships maybe, now their minds have changed. So I think, again, as I've said with the whole wanting to settle down thing, or even as I said with the whole what are your preferences in people you date or whatever, it can change all the time. This is what people don't understand, and it baffles me that people don't understand it. But if you choose to have a child, you are choosing to change your body, give birth, and change your whole life. Like, it's not a light decision. And also, you having a child is for you and your family, and it doesn't affect anyone else. Like, it's not for anyone else. So I don't see how anyone can have an opinion. See, I don't know why I got so passionate about that. I'm not even anywhere near having a child. But yeah, you're saying you don't know. I think just stay in that energy. Don't force yourself to go either way. It's so fine to not know. You could spend your life not knowing. Like, I feel like I will spend my life not knowing about a lot of things. But yeah, you might meet someone, or you might have an experience that makes you want to have a child. You might realize that you don't want to have a child, or you might just decide to go with the flow and see where life takes you. And yeah, for me, obviously, I want a child. I would love to have a family. Again, as I said, I feel like it's part of my purpose here. But obviously, anything can happen, and I might not. Like, it might be how life goes. So I'm open to either. Obviously, that's just what I want, and that's what I would love. But yeah, I mean, things can change. Maybe in 2 years, I couldn't think of anything worse. Who knows? But yeah, Aaron, why don't you have one, and then I can see if I'm cut out for this. Okay, so someone said a long distance relationship at different unis. Oh man, long distance relationships, again, haven't been in a relationship, guys, I'm not gonna lie. But long distance relationships must be so hard. Obviously, you're in a relationship with someone, you want to see them. And with being at two different unis, I just think uni in general is quite an intense experience. It was for me anyway. It's quite a life-changing experience, some might say. But yeah, it depends. I don't know if you met at school or whatever. I know a lot of people who I went to uni with had like people they were with from school. And yeah, they had to go long distance. It is tough for anyone. And I think especially at that age, we're not even, like 18, you're not fully grown yet, fully matured. So I think it can be challenging. So yeah, I just think the number one thing is obviously having trust there. Trying to make time for each other. Again, uni can be such an intense time where you're like here, there and everywhere. But I think, I don't know, making time to FaceTime every night, catching up with each other. I think being in separate unis could be a blessing in disguise, just in terms of like communication, just because you're always going to have something to talk about and you're going to want to hear about each other's day, blah, blah, blah. And as they say, absence makes the heart grow fonder. So you might just miss each other so much that when you do come together, it's so nice and like you really cherish it. But yeah, it is challenging. I'm sure you know that. The good thing about uni though, I can imagine if I had been in a relationship at uni, is that you do have like an element of freedom, obviously hoping that you have the means to travel and stuff. You do have a bit of an element of freedom. This is if you're living out, that you can kind of plan your life a bit more together rather than being at home in the constraints of your family and stuff. Obviously stay safe, guys, don't do anything dumb. You can plan little trips together. You can plan for you to visit them one weekend and vice versa. I think, as I said, especially if you're living out, which I think you are, having that space and freedom it's kind of gonna be like a nice transition. For example, say you did stay together and then after uni your relationship progresses, you've already had a bit of experience kind of having your own thing going on outside of home. So yeah, I think uni can be a really nice experimental period for relationships. I'm speaking about this as if I've been in a relationship, let alone at uni. I haven't, but I can just imagine. But I do know it's not all rainbows and daisies and it would be really hard. Like, you're obviously going to miss each other. There's a lot of issues that can happen when you're apart like that. But yeah, I think just use uni as an experience to grow whatever happens. And as long as you make time for each other, as long as you're both putting in the effort, because obviously it takes two to tango. Yeah, I think it can be fine. I think you can obviously look at it as a bad thing and it will be challenging at times, but you can also, as I said, like at the start, look at it as a chance to kind of have your own little life together outside of your family homes or whatever, and be able to experience things together, experience things apart, and then come together and talk about it and obviously grow together in a way. So yeah, I think it could be something really fun and a good experience if you want it to be and if you both put in the effort. But yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I don't envy you. I'm sure it would be really tough. But yeah, just see how it goes and enjoy uni. I'm very jealous. I wish I was back at uni. Okay, the next one is finding a good guy to settle down with. Oh, it's hard. I think a lot of us are in this position, to be fair. Like, finding someone good and worth settling down with, it's a big thing. And I think if you're someone who looks into the future a lot, I know I always talk about live in the moment, live in the present, but you can't help but look in the future sometimes, especially with relationships. It's hard to grasp the idea of staying with one person for life and also seeing that potential in someone. Again, so much can change in life. I think because I've taken the pressure now off things having to last forever, because I think as much as you want to think that, if you do think that, it's kind of like, even though things can definitely last forever and last until the day you die, which I'm obviously hoping for. I hope I find one person, I'm just with them for the rest of my life. Like, that would be the dream. But I think I spoke about this in my manifestation podcast, which was the last episode. But I think when you let go of a certain outcome for anything, then you kind of give the universe or God or whatever you want to call it the chance to just give you experiences that are going to help you grow. As I said, I think everyone wishes they can be with one person. And I, obviously, when I find someone or when I do settle down, I will try my best to make that work, but not force myself, if you know what I mean. And then when you do take that pressure off, you can enjoy the moment a bit more. It's a bit of a balance to strike, because obviously you do want to enjoy dating or whatever and getting to know people and not think about the future too much. But then that is an aspect of, okay, I want to be smart here and I want this to work. So is this person right for me? Blah, blah, blah. It's so complicated, guys. And I don't know how we're supposed to deal with it. I really don't. But yeah, I think the best mindset, the best or most productive mindset for your own growth and happiness is just to have an equal balance of finding people that resonate with you and also not putting too much pressure on anything. Because I think even if you are with someone that you do stay with for the rest of your life, if you put too much pressure on it in the time, you could ruin something good because you've got so much pressure of everything going right. So yeah, in terms of finding someone to settle down with, I think as long as you've got some core values or core beliefs that you both align with, there's no reason why you can't, and there's no reason why it can't work. But yeah, I guess it kind of links back to the whole standards thing or preferences. It's fine to have standards and preferences, and it probably will make your chances of lasting a lot better if you know what you want. I guess the best thing to do is, even though it's easier said than done, focus less on the settling down, because it's an outcome that will happen at some point, hopefully. You just obviously don't know who it's going to be with. So give everyone a fair chance. If you feel the vibes, if you feel the energy, give it the chance, give it the shot, and just know that whatever does happen is going to help you grow. It's going to be for your greatest good. I say all this as if I don't feel the same way that you feel. I definitely feel what you're saying. Obviously, for a lot of people, the ultimate thing is to find someone to settle down with. It's a totally normal thing. But yeah, I think in my experience, when you take the pressure off it, it's just a more enjoyable experience for you. Whether it happens all the time, whether you do take the pressure off it, is a different story. But I'm just saying, if you can, then do it. But yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people, just think about how many people are settled down. It is possible, it does happen. I just think the less you put pressure on it, the more likely it is probably going to happen when you least expect it. And the more likely you can grow in a natural way with someone, rather than pinpointing the outcome so much that it's just too much pressure. If you just grow with someone, you probably will settle with them, because that's how we are as humans, I guess. It's okay if you haven't found someone yet, and just think, once you do find the person, it's gonna take that whole element out of your life of having to look for someone. So yeah, you're just in the stage now where you're looking for that person, and then once you do, hopefully it'll be a long-lasting relationship and you can focus on enjoying your life with that person. Me and my boyfriend are from 2 different religions, and the family aspect is really challenging. I feel like this is something that probably affects more people than you know. Obviously, religion is a massive thing in the world, and a lot of people come from different backgrounds, different cultures, and in the grand scheme of things, it is an amazing thing to know so many different people, to have a chance to learn from different people, learn different perspectives. But I think when it comes to a relationship, obviously, it's where it gets tricky. Not necessarily, I'm not saying it's a bad thing, it's definitely not, but it can just get tricky just because there's so much more involved, obviously. This is gonna sound so like unrealistic, and I know a lot of people probably don't think this way, which is fine. But me, I just feel like love is bigger than anything, bigger than religion, bigger than anything. It's one of the most unexplainable things ever. And it's one of the biggest forces in the world ever. And when things like religion come between it or make it more difficult, it's such a shame. But I do also know that we live in a realistic world, and sometimes it just is an issue that you can't get around. But yeah, if you're saying that you and your boyfriend are happy together and the religion isn't an issue for you, and it's just your families that have the issue, then I would say, with all due respect, like, ignore it as much as you can. Not in like a horrible way or disrespectful way, but if you guys have a way of understanding each other and getting on with your relationship and learning from each other and respecting each other's religions, blah, 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 then honestly, the family aspect, if it's just a religion they have an opinion on, I'm going to be bold here and I'm going to say, fuck it. Obviously, if you're of age and able to make your own decisions. But yeah, you just have to look around. There's people that make it work, and families just have to kind of accept it, especially if, as I said, you guys love each other, you're in a good relationship, there's no issue for you, then I don't think it's a problem. If it's an issue for you both as individuals in your relationship, then obviously that's a personal thing to you, and you work through it and decide what to do, because obviously having the same morals, beliefs can make relationships a lot easier. But yeah, if you've found a way to respect each other and coexist and learn from each other, because again, religion's a difficult thing. Obviously, I don't have a religion, but I'm definitely not against whoever I'm with having a religion at all. If you can find a way to make it work, then go ahead and have a happy life. Like, I think that would be amazing. And yeah, I think there needs to be more of that. I think there should be more acceptance of that, because I think a lot of the times when that does happen, there can be kind of like it can be looked down on, especially by the families, because obviously a lot of the times families do prefer their children to marry within the religion for whatever reason it is. And again, even though I don't agree with it, I can see where it's coming from. It's probably coming from a good place. But I just think, as I said, love is such a massive thing and such a greater thing than any of us, that it's not even because sometimes you just can't help how difficult certain circumstances can make your life and make your relationship. But I think when it does come between people, it is just a shame. Obviously, again, I'm realistic and I know that sometimes it just won't work, and that's just how life is, because religion, even though it is personal, it is a very big thing. In terms of who you are as a person, how you see the world and your morals. But yeah, if you can find a way, then I don't see a problem with it. If it's just the families that have an issue, I think if they see that you're happy, they'll not necessarily get over it, but they'll accept it and become more accustomed to it. And yeah, I'm wishing the absolute best for you guys. I'm literally rooting for you. I hope you get married one day, and I hope you come to the wedding. Anyways, guys, that I think is going to be the end of this episode. Don't know what I'm doing. Don't know why I'm stretching. Wow, it's been a while. My voice is hurting. I've only been speaking for 40 minutes. This is a bit of a shorter episode, but I think it's been a while. I'm going to give my voice a rest. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the podcast. I really enjoyed this episode. I really enjoy talking about relationships. For someone who hasn't been in a relationship and has no experience, I sure as hell like talking about it. Maybe it's me living in my fantasy of being in a relationship and acting like I know what I'm talking about. Anyways, yeah, I'm going to go. If you do want to send in a message, any topics, or just an email in general, then send it to saylesswithalisha@gmail.com. Follow me on Instagram as well, just for general updates. And also, if you're here on YouTube, then make sure to subscribe and check out some of my other videos. Thank you guys so much for listening and watching and just the support in general. I love you guys so much. I'm really enjoying myself right now. I'm just enjoying life and enjoying what I'm putting out. So yeah, I will see you in my next one.